In this video, we're going to learn about function in JavaScript. First, just create a file called function.html. Similar to any other programming language, in JavaScript, a function allows us to define a block of code, and then we can give it a name and then execute it as many times as we want. To define a function in JavaScript, we can use the function keyword. Function. Inside this function, we can do another task. In this case, maybe we want to print this hello message. So just try to run this code. Okay, as you can see, this command is not executed yet. You can see there is no hello message in here. To execute this function, we just need to call this function by doing something like this. So the text is printed. This our first function doesn't have any parameter. Actually, we can pass a parameter through a function. Maybe we can remove this text. And then we print that parameter. And then we can pass a string through this function as an argument. You can see this tag is printed because this tag is received by this function through this text parameter, and then this text parameter will be printed using this console log. In JavaScript, we can have more than one parameter. For example, we can create a new function called sum, and it has two parameters, a and b, and then it will print a plus b. So we can try to execute this function. It will print 9. This function is the example of that JavaScript can receive more than one parameter. So how about printing this result of the function? You can see that if we console log this function, it will print undefined because this function returns nothing. In JavaScript, just like in any other programming language, can return a value. In this case, in our sum function, it doesn't return anything, so the value will be undefined. So we can try to refactor our code to be like this. Instead of using console log instead the function, we can return a plus b. Then we can try to run this code. Yeah, it will return 9 as we expected. When we are using this function, we can use the arguments object. For example, we can remove this arguments, and then we can use the arguments object. And then sum a plus b. A is not defined. Sorry, this is 4. Okay, it still works. With this old function keyword, we can have this arguments object, and then you can add as many arguments as you want. So actually, this is the ES5 syntax, the old one. With ES6, we can declare a function as a variable using the fat arrow function. Maybe we can try to create a new variable called multiply. Okay, keyword. We can declare a function using a fat arrow like this. But when we declare a function using this fat arrow, we don't have this arguments object. We can try to console log the arguments object. Arguments is not defined. So when you want to use this arguments object, you should declare a function using this function keyword. It doesn't work with fat arrow function. Because JavaScript is loosely typed, so you can return different value for different condition, different data type for a different condition. Maybe we can try something like this. If the value is bigger than 5, it will return a string. And then if the value is less than 5, it will return a multiplied by b. Let's try. It's not defined. Okay, maybe just a. Okay, 25. If we change this to 6, it will return a string. So JavaScript is loosely typed, so one function can return a different type in different condition. In JavaScript, instead of returning a primitive value or non-primitive value, we can also return a function. So a function that return a function. So this is the example. Maybe we can use subtract a plus b, a minus b. Inside this subtract, we can create another function, nested function. Inside this subtract function, can create subtract with. So remove the b variable from the upper function. In the inner function, we receive b as a parameter. Okay, so this function will return this inner function. To execute this function, we can do something like this. Subtract 5, and then console log with 5. It will return 25. If we are not executing this function, it will return this function. So to execute it, just execute this function, because this variable will be this inner function. Okay, it's enough for JavaScript function. Let's go to the next video.